Good evening and welcome to our daily devotional reading. I hope you had a good day. I hope you are well. A special welcome to the members of our make-believe monastery. Those who are just dropping in for today or do not know because they missed it previously, because I don't say it always. This is a make-believe monastery and you're dropping in to daily devotional readings of Plato. The collected works of Plato, at least those that are agreed to be his own work, have been divided in 365 days by me, and we are reading through all of that bit by bit. Before we begin to do today's reading, let's prepare to receive what is given, if anything is given. Turn inward, still your mind, still your heart. Try to breathe deeply, deepen your breath. I'm here. Try to forget about the stress of the world, all the demands that's upon you, all the voices that need your attention or wants your attention. Just focus on you, on your heart. My heart is at this stage very center stage in my attention, but maybe deeper, maybe go deeper to your gut, to your dantian. There from where you're supposed to breathe, called belly breathing. Do this type of breathing whenever you need to calm down and to still the voices without. Just breathe from your belly, deeply, intentionally, with attention. Take a deep breath and let it out. Let the stress out of your body with your breath. If you need to, put your hand on your heart and hush it like you would a baby. Saying same things. It's okay. It's okay. Shh. Let it quiet down and open itself to receive the words of Plato. I shall be happy, I said, to let you have a share. Here is Lucius, who does not understand something that I was saying, and wants me to ask Menexenus, who, as he thinks, is likely to know. And why do you not ask him? He said. Very well, I said, I will. And do you, Menexenus, answer. But first I must tell you that I am one who from my childhood upward have set my heart upon one certain thing. All people have their fancies. Some desire horses, and other dogs, and some are fond of gold, and others of honor. Now I have no violent desire of any of these things, but I have a passion for books and friends. And I would rather have a good friend than the best cock or quill in the world. Well, I don't know about that. I would even go further and say that the best horse or dog. Yea, by the dog of Egypt, I should greatly prefer a real friend to all the gold of Darius, or even to Darius himself. I am such a lover of friends as that, and what I see you and Lucius at your early age so easily possessed of this treasure, and so soon he and you of him. I am amazed and delighted, seeing that I myself, although I am now advanced in years, am so far from having made a similar acquisition that I do not even know in what way a friend is acquired. But I want to ask you a question about this, for you have experience. Tell me then, when one loves another, is the lover or the beloved the friend? Or may either be the friend? Either may, I should think, be the friend of either. Do you mean, I said, that if only one of them loves the other, they are mutual friends? Yes, he said, that is my meaning. But what if the lover is not loved in return, which is very possible? Yes, or is perhaps even hated, which is a fancy which sometimes is entertained by lovers respecting their beloved. Nothing can exceed their love, and yet they imagine either that they are not loved in return or that they are hated. Is not that true? Yes, he said, quite true. In that case, the one loves and the other is loved. Yes. Then which is the friend of which? Is the lover the friend of the beloved, whether he be loved in return or hated? Or is the beloved the friend? Or is there no friendship at all on either side, unless they both love one another? There would seem to be none at all. Then this notion is not in accordance with our previous one. We are saying that both were friends if one only loved, and now, unless they both love, neither is a friend. That appears to be true. Then nothing which does not love in return is beloved by a lover. I think not. Then they are not lovers of horses, whom the horses do not love in return, nor lover of quails, nor of dogs, nor of wine, nor of gymnastic exercises, who have no return of love. No, nor of wisdom, unless wisdom loves them in return. Or shall we say that they do love them, although they are not beloved by them? Is that what the poet was wrong when he sings, "Happy is the man to whom his children are dear, and steeds having single hoofs, and dogs of chase, and the stranger or of the land"? I do not think that he was wrong. I don't understand him. You think that he was right? Yes. Then, Menexenus, the conclusion is that what is beloved, whether loving or hating, may be dear to the lover of it. For example, very young children, too young to love, or even hating their father or mother when they are punished by them, are never dearer to them than at the time when they are being hated by them. I think that what you say is true. And if so, not the lover, but the beloved is the friend or dear one. Yes, and the hated one and not the hater is the enemy. Clearly. Then many men are loved by their enemies and hated by their friends, and are friends of their enemies and the enemies of their friends. Yet how absurd, my dear friend, or indeed impossible is the paradox of a man being an enemy to his friend, or a friend to his enemy. I quite agree, Socrates, in what you say. But if this cannot be, the lover will be the friend of that which is loved. True. And the hater will be the enemy of that which is hated. Certainly. Yet we must acknowledge in this, as in the preceding instance, that a man may be the friend of one who is not his friend, and who may be his enemy, when he loves that which does not love him, or which even hates him. And he may be the enemy of one who is not his enemy and is even his friend, for example, when he hates that which does not hate him, or which even loves him. That appears to be true. But if the lover is not a friend, nor the beloved a friend, nor both together, what are we to say? Whom are we to call friends to one another? Do you remain? Indeed, Socrates, I cannot find any. Oh, but Menexenus, I said, may we not have been altogether wrong in our conclusions? I am sure that we have been wrong, Socrates. I am sure that we have been wrong, Socrates, said Lucius. And he blushed as he spoke, the words seeming to come from his lips involuntarily, because his whole mind was taken up with the argument. The other translation has it as, he was paying such close attention. There was no mistaking his attentive look while he was listening. I was pleased at the interest which was shown by Lucius, and I wanted to give Menexenus a rest, So I turned to him and said, I think, Lucius, that what you say is true, and that if we have been right, we should never have gone so far wrong. Let us proceed no further in this direction, for the road seems to be getting troublesome. But take the other path into which we turned, and see what the poets have to say, for they are to us in a manner the fathers and authors of wisdom, and they speak of friends in no light or trivial manner. But God himself, as they say, makes them and draws them to one another. And this they express, if I am not mistaken, in the following words. God is ever drawing like towards like, and making them acquainted. They speak of friends in no light or trivial manner, but God himself, as they say, makes them and draws them to one another. I dare say that you have heard those words. Yes, he said, I have. And have you not also met with the treatise of philosophers who say that like must love like? They are the people who argue and write about nature and the universe. Very true, he replied. And are they right in saying this? Oh, they must be. Perhaps, I said. About half or possibly altogether right, if their meaning were rightly apprehended by us. For the more a bad man has to do with a bad man, and the more nearly he is brought into contact with him, the more he will be likely to hate him, for he injures him. And injurer and injured cannot be friends. Is not that true? Yes, he said. Then one half of the saying is untrue if the wicked are like one another. That is true. But the real meaning of the saying, as I imagine, is that the good are like one another and friends to one another, and that the bad, as is often said of them, are never at unity with one another or with themselves. For they are passionate and restless, and anything which is at variance and enmity with itself is not likely to be in union or harmony with any other thing. Do you not agree? Yes, I do. Then, my friend, those who say that the like is friendly to the like mean to intimate, if I rightly apprehend them, that the good only is the friend of the good, and of him only, but that the evil never attains to any real friendship, either with good or evil. Do you agree? He nodded assent. Then now we know how to answer the question, who is friends? For the argument declares that the good are friends. Yes, he said, that is true. Yes, I replied. And yet I am not quite satisfied with this answer. By heaven, and shall I tell you what I suspect? I will. Assuming that like, inasmuch as he is like, is the friend of like, and useful to him. Or rather, let me try another way of putting the matter. Can like do any good or harm to like, which he could not do to himself? Or suffer anything from his like, which he would not suffer from himself? And if neither can be of any use to another, how can they be loved by what, or of another? Prized, the other translation says. Can they now? Interesting, the Greek here is related to agape, agapazua, to treat with affection, receive with outward signs of love, regarded with affection, to treat with affection, to caress, love, be fond of. They cannot. And can he who is loved or prized be a friend? He who is not loved be a friend? Certainly not. But say that the like is not the friend of the like insofar as he is like. Still the good may be the friend of the good insofar as he is good. True. But then again, will not the good insofar as he is good be sufficient for himself? Certainly he will. And he who is sufficient wants nothing. That is implied in the word sufficient. Of course not. And he who wants nothing will desire, prize, nothing. He will not. Neither can he love that which he does not desire or prize. He cannot. And he who loves not is not a lover or friend. Here the love is switched to phileo. So the sentence has the play on the words phileo, the verb, and philos, friend, the noun. Clearly not. What place then is there for friendship, if, when absent, good men have no need of one another? For when alone they are sufficient for themselves, and when present have no use of one another. How can such persons ever be induced to value one another? They cannot. And friends they cannot be, unless they value one another. Very true. Thus far our scripture of the evening. Friendship. I had a quick call with one of my oldest friends about our holiday plans. I've spoken of him before. We studied together. So we have known each other 26 years. Friendship. I agree with Socrates. I would rather have a good friend, a real friend, I'm trying to think, then what else? I love books, but they do not compare to human friends. Even books. To real good friends. That is. And in what way is a friend acquired? I was wondering about this throughout the day, because I often said in the past, and it's very true, that I'm really blessed in friendship, really blessed. I don't know how, but I'm really bad in romantic love. And I notice the switch that I make myself, that I may say I am blessed, as in someone who receives without working for it, friendship. and someone who does not receive romantic love because of my own iniquities. Is that a word? My own failures. Maybe I did not memorize it. I do not agree with everything in the Tao Te Ching. So I'm not sure, but today's that I had to memorize 79. Failure is an opportunity. If you blame someone else, there is no end to the blame. Therefore the master fulfills her own obligations and corrects her own mistakes. She does what she needs to do and demands nothing of others. Interesting seeing that yesterday I dined with my ex-husband, the first part. If you blame someone else, there is no end to the blame. But this part of the master fulfills her own obligations and she does what she needs to do and demands nothing of others. It feels very similar to this idea of the good being self-sufficient. And I have to question that, maybe just because I am not good and I do not know that anyone is good. Any human, because I do think we human beings need each other. Does not demand things from others. That is one thing that I tend to do in my friendships, that I sometimes get wrong in my romantic relation, always get wrong in my romantic relationship. I'm quite undemanding in my friendships, although very high standards. But quite demanding in my romantic relationships. So how does one acquire a friend? How did I get to be so lucky in friendship? Later on in the text, Socrates, or Plato via Socrates, says, God himself makes them and draws them to one another. And honestly, when I look at my friendships, the ones that have been lasting for years and decades, and the new ones, relatively new ones of a few years, that's just extraordinary. That has extraordinary depth. The only thing I seem to have done was to show up, to be there and interact. And time and place and activities, oftentimes it's activities me and the friend I mentioned at the beginning studied together. I've mentioned that before as well, that we were a group of 3, later sometimes 2. And he was the one that showed up at my door sometimes and said, hey, we have a test tomorrow. Why are you not studying? I also wrote down, seeing that Socrates says only the good can be friends to the good. And it makes sense, the evil. Again, notice how important it is to be able to distinguish, to know good and evil, to be able to distinguish between the two. The evil or the bad screw each other over, and then of course the friendship is not going to last. And so I wrote down, be good. How does one require a friend? Be good, but I do not consider myself good. So, hence, I consider myself someone who got extremely lucky. What is friendship? Is it mutual affection? My first gut instinct is to, of course, if there's not mutual affection, it's not friendship. And later he kind of makes a twist that makes me wonder if I understand friendship correctly. Because friendship to me is the giving, the giving part. But it seems that he also interprets it as being a friend, as being the one who's loved, which makes sense if in the word, because it's the philos, the love, so the one who is loved. So I'm not quite clear on that. For me, it feels more that you're being a friend to someone. If, for instance, you're listening in with an attentive look, and not just the look, the attentive look, but with actually attention behind your look. For instance, if you give, if you open yourself, if you share, if you care about the other, for me that is feeling friendship. And then I had to wonder, when he also says, if I love, am I a friend to you? Because we do love, he mentions that, what we do love, things that don't love us back. Books, for instance. And he mentions wisdoms, but cleverly says that maybe wisdom does love us as well. She is a friend to those who seek her, a friend to those who love her. If I love, am I a friend to you? Or are you a friend to me? Because the young nobles came to my mind. I don't know them, but I do pay them a lot of attention, and I do feel affection towards them. Am I being a friend to them in that I take note of them and I wish them well? Yeah, that, wishing them well. Wishing happiness, as was yesterday said. Hoping that they would be happy and that they would have a good life. Am I being a friend in that? Or are they being friends to me in that they provide me with knowledge and skills, things to attend to that can sharpen my mind and help me become a better person. That is clearly one-sided, but I'm not sure which side is the friend. And I think that's the point Socrates is making here. Friendship. I do agree with Socrates that friends are one of the most treasured experiences, I want to say, rather than possessions. That we can possibly have. And if there is a way to acquire a skill at being a better friend, I think that is most definitely a skill we should cultivate. Maybe what comes to mind is the skill of paying attention, at valuing the other, genuinely valuing the other. I've noticed, because I've mentioned that I'm shy, But I've noticed that I can interact with people to the extent that I forget myself. And luckily, because I have cultivated the skill of experiencing flow, because that is also a way to experience that is flow in a way, forgetting yourself and focusing on the other, or on the interaction, on the moment. So turning your gaze outward, seeing the other, maybe that is a skill that could help friendship. I do think when we think of we want friends, it's usually for our own benefit. And by all means, I absolutely support that. But maybe it's good to also consider what you bring to the table. Ugh, such a phrase that's also used so terribly nowadays. How much you can improve the lives of those who improve your life. Mutual affection. Mutual caring. If it is God who makes friends and brings them together, draw them together, then maybe we do need God after all. Then maybe that is I do think friendship, good and real friendship, will solve all of these things that people list under the meta crisis. But maybe I'm just overvaluing. I know it won't be gold, that's for sure. Probably also not horses. What's the other things that he mentions? I doubt that it will be cocks. Maybe. Every now and then a crow is good to hear. By being a little bit more playful as well, I imagine, is a good skill to have to cultivate. To have, to cultivate for being a good friend. May the spirit of Sophia guide us and be with us in our journey towards friendship.